Let's have a little bit of a chat about money and utility. Back in the day, when money had a value, an intrinsic value, and the coins were made of gold and silver, and even if you were issued bonds by the bank, the bonds would pertain to the gold that you deposited in the bank. So that paper would represent your gold, which you placed in the bank for security and also for interest. Throughout the years, the money has become devalued, and nations started to mint coins from less precious metals. And in times of real hardship, then coins were even minted in aluminum, like just after the First World War in Germany. What's that called? The Rhinar Republic. Yeah, aluminum, because money wasn't worth anything, because there was no substance to it, because Germany was bankrupt. And so now when we look at our money, we have copper and we have brass and we have nickel, and they have a reasonable value. I mean, copper has escalated in its value on an ongoing basis. Copper is very valuable because we use it for electrical appliances and things like that. And then with the advent of the fiat monetary system, the money became intrinsically valueless. And so, albeit we have coins now made of copper, nickel and some sort of brass alloy, that is their only value. But what value does it have really? Because if you want to weigh in, let's say 1,000 copper pennies, then would you get the exact equivalent of that minted coin by weighing it in for scrap? That would be an interesting experiment to do. However much 1,000 pennies weighs, to weigh it into a scrap metal merchant to see what the value of scrap copper is worth in any given day, what they would give you for the same 1,000 pennies. And so of course 1,000 pennies is £10. Would they give you £10 for 1,000 pennies? Now, with the fiat monetary system, the paper isn't intrinsic to anything. It's just an idea, isn't it? Money is an idea now. Fiat currency is an idea. Money isn't premised on precious metals anymore. It's just the value pertains to the trust that we have in it. We trust that a £10 note would still be valued by other people, albeit it has no intrinsic value. It's not worth anything, it's just paper, but it represents value. And all we've done now is we've exchanged the true value of money, which was precious metals, into an idea of value. And as soon as that idea is no longer respected by the masses, then that paper becomes worthless, doesn't it? So this is the precipice that the world is on, people. And the world's economy is hanging on with white knuckles to the idea which is so pervasive within humanity. They are still believing that their paper has value. But you see, in times of hardship, let's say during times of a war, the money becomes valueless in a country because people don't consider that that has any value. Paper, stupid coins, what's that to me? Can it keep me warm? Can it feed me? Can it protect me? Can it give me shelter? No. So these things become precedent. And things of value would be a cup, a cooking utensil, a coat, a pair of shoes. These would have value, and you'd exchange those for other things with intrinsic value. Nobody would be interested in the money of that nation anymore, because the trust would be gone. They wouldn't know what's going to happen. Maybe the whole country is going to be in ruin, and the currency is going to be completely useless and worthless. So things with intrinsic value become more important to people. And so we go back then, don't we? We revert back to a reality. Instead of living in a fiction, living in a fantasy that the paper in our pockets is worth something, it's only worth something when we all believe in it. As soon as we stop believing in it, it's worth nothing. And so, now we're moving on to AI, where we've got our bank account with our supposedly money in it, and whenever we want to make a transaction, we can use it by flashing a piece of plastic or presenting our phone to a digital device. And then these zeros and ones are transferred out of our fictitious bank account. I mean, the bank was supposed to hold gold. It was supposed to hold precious commodities. Now, what does it hold? Zeros and ones on a computer with absolutely no intrinsic value. So we're flashing our phones, and there is zeros and ones being transferred from your account to the account where you just purchased something from. And so we've even exchanged now something material like paper and coins for simply just an idea. At least with the paper and coins that we have in our pocket today, there is something there. Oh, I've got a handful of pound coins. They have got value. You know, there's something there in the world. And the paper, well, that's just a lighter way of carrying larger denominations. And so you could fool yourself that there's intrinsic value. And you know, I would think the vast majority of the world today don't know that money is fiat all over the world. It doesn't have intrinsic value anywhere on the planet anymore. But they are conned into believing that it does, or they've just accepted something which they considered must be a reality. The money is of value. That's why we exchange it for things. Well, take all your money in paper notes onto a desert island and try to exchange that for someone's gallon of water. You see how much your millions is worth against 1 gallon of water on a pure desert island. Won't be worth a single thing. Not a single thing, people. And so there'd be certain realizations made under certain circumstances, wouldn't there? Your reasonable mind, you'd go, hang on, if I got off this island, well, that would be brilliant. Maybe I could exchange half my gallon for £1 million. And I would hedge my bets that maybe I might get off this island and then I got £1 million. Wow, wonderful. But if I don't manage to get off this island and time passes and I become more and more thirsty, then it may be the death of me. And that half a gallon, if I'd have saved it, then that would have prolonged my life for a little bit more time, and then the rescue team may have arrived, and then I'll be going, well, thank goodness I never exchanged half the gallon of water for £1 million, because I would be dead clutching my £1 million. So when we start to apply our rational mind to the circumstances which we're in, things change massively, don't they? So now we don't have, well, we're almost at that stage, almost, because we still use the material currency. But very, very soon we won't have that material currency, and then we'll just be flashing our phones, which would just be an idea. And then we'll have an idea of a bank. You know, we've all noticed that all the banks have disappeared, haven't they? The only banks in the vicinity I live in are in the city. There are a few remnants of these banks. They're representations that the banks still exist. And they are only an effigy of what they used to be, because they don't have any money in their vault. They don't have anything of any value on their computers. It is all smoke and mirrors. It's all an illusion. And as long as people still believe in that illusion, as long as the countries that they live in, the states that they are existing within, still can keep the pretense within some sort of realm of reasonableness, i.e., if we're not under war. You know, I wonder how much the Ukrainian currency is worth at this moment in time, when the vast majority of the country is in ruins. I wonder how much the currency which pertained to Gaza, whatever that was, I wonder what value that has. I wonder if people are gathering that up in huge bags and carrying it with them. The hundreds of miles they're walking in mass exoduses. I wonder if they're carrying this currency thinking it's got value, or I wonder if their bags are filled with pots and pans and water containers and utensils like knives and forks and, you know, things of real intrinsic value which pertain to your survival. I think you'll find that nobody's got any faith in that money anymore. And so you see how things shift. And everyone who's in the economical world, in that realm, economics, they've always been speaking about the financial crash that's going to happen. Because all countries are in debt, and the debt will never be able to get paid off. All that happens is more and more debt is accrued, and the currency becomes less and less valuable, and the assets which you buy with it become less and less valuable. You see, look, we've got houses now, and some of you who are long in the tooth, you'll remember that back in the day, let's say, I don't know, 40 years ago, you could buy one of these houses like this for like, well, I mean, of course, they started off, you know, about £3,000 and, you know, this, that and the other. But let's just say when I was like 18, 20, a house like that, you know, it was like a 4-bedroom detached. Well, you could buy that for about £50,000. Now that house is worth like £350,000, maybe even a little bit more. And we can say to ourselves, well, the property's gone up because it's worth more. It isn't worth any more. It's just a house, it's just a roof, it's just four walls, you know, metaphorically speaking. And, you know, the building time took no more. It took no more. In actual fact, building houses today takes far less because they're mostly Lego. And they're not really that substantial anymore, are they? But because the currency has become worth less, therefore it gives the illusion that, well, we have to pay more for a house because it's worth more. But no, we have to pay more for a house because the actual money is worth less. And so it's all an illusion that your property is, you know, of great value. And as long as this fiction is perpetuated, then you will think that you're earning money on your house because look how much my house has gone up. Well, your house hasn't gone up. The money has gone down. And so it's just an illusion that we're all suffering from. And so, you know, intrinsic value. Look at the intrinsic value of things, people. The intrinsic value is the house which you live in, and that's always been the same, you know, throughout millennia. Now the price is escalating, and it's making it less and less affordable to the average person because the money isn't worth anything anymore. And so when you look at that, you go, my God, it's only going to be a matter of time before all houses are too expensive for everyone to buy because they're not related to the amount of revenue that we can generate by our labour. For instance, people working in supermarkets on the cashier, do you think they can afford to buy a house? Absolutely. Do you think people sweeping the streets and collecting refuse bins can afford to buy houses? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And so the higher up in the hierarchical system, it's becoming more and more difficult to be able to afford a house because you aren't getting paid enough, because your labour, your life force is becoming worth less and less and less. The more robots take over, your life force is becoming worth less. And so we're moving on now to this next thing. In relation to the utility. Now, back in the day, Industrial Revolution, go back forever, the human energy was a very, very valuable source of value, let's just say, because the human energy would construct and build and farm and hunt and you know, create cars and all this different sort of thing. The human energy, massively important. But now, with the advent of AI, we've got these robots which have taken the places. And for those of you that you know, don't do any level of research and you don't look into what's happening around the world in relation to AI, just tune in for a few videos on what China is doing with AI and how they have hundreds of thousands of robots and how the robots outnumber the human being already by thousands to one. And you can see their processing plants where they've got actual humanoid type robots doing all these jobs which humans would have done. It's already here, people. You know, we're already the Borg. The Borg, the Hive-Mind, it's here. The Hive-Mind's been here forever. It's just different degrees. It's just becoming more pronounced now. You've always been captivated by the Hive-Mind. As soon as they introduced the monetary system, you've been captivated by the Hive-Mind. As soon as they introduced politics, you're captivated by the Hive-Mind. As soon as they introduced religion, you're captivated by the Hive-Mind. In an instance, as soon as they start having football teams, you're captivated by the Hive-Mind. And so I could go on and on and on, you know, all day long, speaking about how your mind has been captivated into the mind of the Borg. And yet you still think you are free. What part of your life do you think is free? I made a video the other day saying, Do you have control of your mind, or something of this nature? And again, there's just no response. One or two people. Because the reason why is because you all think that you do. You all think I'm talking such shit. Of course I have got control of my own mind. I'm walking to the shop now, to the supermarket, Aaron, to get my dinner and things like that. And then I'm going to go to work because I need the money, Aaron. Well, why are you doing all these things? Because you've been told to, because you've been captivated into doing that. And why do you like watching football or cricket or basketball or any of those stupid dumbass waste of fucking time? Why do you like doing it? Because you've been captivated into the hive mindset. It's all fucking bread and circus, people. Take yourselves back 2,000 years ago to Rome with the Colosseum, all the fucking entertainment they used to put on for the idiot just to keep them, one-track mind and in the hive mind. And then the state thought it was a good idea to pacify the masses by giving them free grain. And so everybody, the chance of revolting against the state would be very, very minimalised because, well, the state was feeding them. And you don't bite the hand that feeds you. And so they knew what they were doing, and they're doing it today. The fucking media and the games. And, who's going to watch the game? Oh, let's go watch the game. And all this. Goodness me. And you don't think you are fucking a member of the Borg. You don't think you've been assimilated. You're a joke, people, you're a joke. But it's becoming more and more pronounced. And the way these AI specialists are speaking, you will not recognise this world in 10 years' time. If you are a cashier girl or guy, you won't have a fucking job within 3 years. All these facilities are going to be massively automated. And if you work in an office, then you won't have a job. What these specialists are saying now, that there's going to be 5 jobs remaining. And if you, or 5 genres of job, if you aren't skilled in any of those, then you're obsolete. And so what's going to be useful? Well, what's going to be useful is an applied skill where you've got to think about things as well as apply a level of animation. And they're saying things like, well, to be a plumber, a builder, an electrician. Now, for instance, look, you can't imagine AI, building these houses at this moment in time. They're too intricate, there's too many stages of development. And so therefore, human beings are going to need to be doing those for the foreseeable future. So back to the trades person, right? And things like electrician and I don't know, shipbuilding and things like that, whereby these ships are absolutely massive, too big to fit in an AI fucking warehouse at this moment in time. But it's coming, people. And so if you have any manual skills which also pertain to a high level of decision making, then you're going to be safe. If you work in an office and you're on a computer, the computer doesn't need you anymore. If you are driving a bus or flying a plane, they don't need you anymore. And so all this different sorts of stuff. And so what's happening? The human being is becoming less and less a utility. And if the human being is less of a utility, then you don't have any intrinsic value anymore. Just like the money, just like the fiat money doesn't have any intrinsic value. So what value do you have as a human being if your energy, if your life force isn't required anymore? Those people with a high level of intelligence, they are probably always going to be needed in some shape or form. because AI will always come upon obstacles which it can't complete, because the human innovation or problem solving, or dexterity with the hands and the body and all that sort of thing, they'll still be considered to be a utility, but the vast majority of human beings won't be a utility because they don't think good enough to be considered a utility. Their dumbass tasks that they used to perform are no longer required, and so the human being will be obsolete. And what's AI going to do with obsolescence? Well, it's going to discontinue that line of things. It's going to discontinue the production line. And so it's going to think to itself, well, we don't need all these useless eaters. You see, so we're really getting there, people. We're really getting to a place whereby it is the end of the line for the vast majority of the human beings. And you can listen to all different sorts of people, Noah Yovel Harari and Bill Gates and Sam Altman, and I think the only person really which is speaking positive about AI is Ray Kurzweil, thinking that, it's going to be wonderful because we're all going to be assimilated and working together. That guy's in a fantasy, and maybe it's just propaganda because it works for him. But it's over for the human being. And there's no one that can see a way out of it, because what they're saying about this AI is that nobody is going to stop, because everybody is terrified of another nation or their enemies or their opposition getting along with the advancement of AI and taking power over the whole world. And so of course Russia's doing their thing, China's doing their thing, America's doing their thing, Europe's doing their thing. Every single country is doing their thing because none of us trust anybody else. And it's not like, we're a member of the European Union. We don't trust each other as far as we can throw each other. And so everybody is rushing ahead, and everybody is creating all this AI and the bots and everything. And as we are doing this, we are eliminating ourselves. And so we're creating these AIs. This is the paradox, right, people? We're creating the AI for our self-protection. But by doing that, by the very act of us creating the AI, we are building into it our obsolescence. The more we give it power, the more it has the capacity to think for itself, or write its own programs, or all different sorts of things. The more it has the capacity to do that, the less valuable you are to it. And so either way, whether we don't do the AI or we do the AI, it's over for us, because someone's going to do the AI, and that someone that does the AI is going to take precedent and ownership of the world. And you, the world, human beings, the vast majority of them are going to be obsolete.